I'd like to give you a series of issues that public schools need to resolve. And let's remember, these are public schools. And these issues need to be resolved in a pluralistic fashion to the satisfaction and the equitable treatment of all taxpayers and all viewpoints. Well, how should the public school resolve the controversy over the question of publicly acknowledged prayer or prayer time in the public schools? Should we compel children to participate in prayers at the public school? Now, should children be compelled to participate in the recitation of prayers? Are prayers to be given through Christ's mediation? Or are they to be generic prayers? And then we can go further. How about Mary? Should prayers be given in the name of Mary? Should we ask for her intercession in our public school prayers? Should prayers be given in the name of Sun Young Moon? Or should prayer be given in the name of Jehovah and only in the name of Jehovah so that Jehovah's Witnesses are not offended? If in your community you have atheists and Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses and Moonies, Roman Catholics and Protestants, Hindus and Buddhists, and the public school is to pluralistically resolve the controversy over prayer, then I want to ask you, which of these options that I've given tonight as to compulsory participation, as to the character of prayer, and as to the question of mediation or generic praying, which of those positions is the public school position on prayer? Not any of the options that I've given you can possibly pass the test of being public. Now somebody says, okay, well then in the public school they just got to forget praying. No. That's not resolving the prayer issue. Because from a Christian standpoint, we're supposed to pray. The fear of the Lord's the beginning of all knowledge. Everything that we do is to be done to the glory of God. We are supposed to pray. So yes, we must pray. But other people say, no, we must not pray. And then there's the whole question about what kind of prayer, what kind of compulsion, what kind of character, what kind of mediation, all of those issues. But you see, the problem here is more than just praying. Let me move on to another issue. The lifestyle of teachers is an issue that cannot be resolved in the public schools either. What am I getting at? Well, the question is, should the public schools hire homosexuals to teach? Can all viewpoints and all taxpayers be satisfied on that question? No, the people who hate sexuality are not going to be satisfied if you hire them. And if you refuse to hire them, those who think that there is no immorality in homosexuality can't be satisfied. How about abortionists? Is it acceptable to hire an abortionist to teach in a public school? Same thing. Some people think abortion is murder. Some people think that it's a woman's privacy rights. Somebody is not going to be satisfied no matter what you say about that. You can't escape answering the question, and you can't answer the question to the satisfaction of all parties. How about those who engage in the use of recreational drugs? How about anarchists? How about members of terrorist groups? May they teach in the public schools? Or the old question, how about communists? You know, it used to be a time where if you were a declared communist, you couldn't teach in the public schools because you were committed to the overthrow of the U.S. government. But you know, that's not a consistent application of public school philosophy. That's one of the philosophies of life. You can't exclude that any more than you can exclude any other view that is part of the part of the public. How about the lifestyle of teachers who use foul language? Is it acceptable for teachers to be overheard by children using four-letter words and worse? If you say, no, that's not acceptable, then what you're basically doing is bringing some kind of moral absolute position in to the teaching in the public schools. But there are always going to be people who say, I don't share that worldview. I don't share that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of language. How about this one? If you want a hot potato, try this one. How about sexual involvement with students? Is that acceptable in the lifestyle of teachers? May teachers date their students? All depends on your morality, doesn't it? All depends upon your worldview. Now, on any of the issues that I've raised under the rubric of the lifestyle of teachers, in the public schools, can you resolve them pluralistically to the satisfaction and equitable treatment of all taxpayers and viewpoints? My answer is the same as with respect to prayer. It's impossible to do. Thirdly, what about school social behavior? Not the lifestyle of teachers, but now the social behavior of students. How should dress code disagreements be resolved? Can you satisfy everybody that's a taxpayer with respect to dress code? Some parents don't think that children should have dress codes at all. Some think uniforms are necessary. Some think that gang paraphernalia should not be allowed. Well, there's a ambiguous one to apply. Some people say that girls shouldn't wear slacks. Some people say girls shouldn't dress salaciously. I guess boys shouldn't either, but it's usually girls who get picked on that way. Now, who's right, who's wrong here? Can all taxpayers be satisfied on the dress code issue? No. How about the issue of distributing condoms? Is that something the public school legitimately may do? On one worldview, yes. You take a different approach to life and morality? No. Should school lunches include pork? Well, can you satisfy everybody on that? Talk to Jews or Orthodox Jews and Muslims. Talk to those who are not Orthodox Jews and Muslims, and you're going to get a different answer. And you can't satisfy both. By the way, should school lunches have meat at all? What about the vegetarians? Don't they get represented in public schools? Should you allow homosexual couples to go to the high school prom? That's no joke. I mean, I would have thought it was 30 years ago, but that's no joke. There have been school boards that have been torn apart over that issue. Parents who are offended that the high school allows homosexual couples to go to the prom, and equally those who will go to the ACLU and bring a lawsuit if you don't allow homosexual couples to go to the prom. Now, can the public school resolve in a pluralistic way to the satisfaction and equitable treatment of all taxpayers and viewpoints any of these school social behavior issues? The answer is no. A public school, cannot resolve the prayer issue. The public school cannot resolve the lifestyle of teachers issue. The public school cannot resolve school social behavior issues. But it's worse than that. I mean, some people might believe, well, that's all externals. We can get beyond all that. In the classroom, there's no problem. Oh, yeah? What is it that should be taught, and what is it that should be considered as a viable option if you're going to look at different ones? What is it that should be taught, and or what should be considered about questions regarding origin? Because this issue comes up in social science, comes up in history courses, comes up in the liberal arts, and comes up in natural science. Throughout the curriculum, whatever you teach students in one way or another is going to reflect the view of origin. You can't avoid that. You cannot satisfy all taxpayers. You cannot satisfy all viewpoints when it comes to the moral condition of man. You can't satisfy all viewpoints when it comes to origin. Nor can you satisfy all viewpoints when it comes to the solution to man's predicament. Are humans unique from animals in the first place? Are humans superior to animals? Is it acceptable to dissect a frog in the science lab? You see, you got different viewpoints. We don't even have to bring Christians into this one. You have different viewpoints on that. Is man superior to the frogs so man can cut up dead frogs? Is that fair? Is that right? Some people say, oh, that no one argues over that. Listen, you are not paying attention. I'm not even paying that much attention. I know better than what you just said. That is a dispute as to whether animals may be used in the public schools in that way. So you can't get away from some kind of view of man, origin, man's moral condition. What is the answer to man's predicament? You can't escape that in social science, in history, in the liberal arts, in natural sciences. Moreover, to say nothing about these things in social science, history, liberal arts, or natural science would make it impossible to teach those courses. You can't teach literature without having a view of man. It's just impossible. I defy you to try it. And so what is the public school answer to these problems? There is no public school answer to these problems. Pose a question. Should people be forced to finance what they disagree with? When you go to the school board meeting, you see all these people yelling at each other, from the different sides. When I see that sort of thing, to be honest, mindlessness sometimes makes me indignant. I don't like the way in which people talk to each other. But I'm really sympathetic to both sides in the public school setting when they do this. Because as stupid as I think this man's opinion over here may be, I don't think that he should have to pay for this opposing view over here. I don't think it's fair to force him to finance what he disagrees with. And so what's the way to peace in the public school? And I'm going to give you the answer finally. The way to peace, rather than to rancor and riots at school board meetings, is the free market. The way to peace is to let parents make their own choices and pay for them. The way to peace is for all schools to be privately funded.